Alright, so I just wanted to hop on and make a quick video. Hopefully it's quick. But I want to make a quick video, just a quick, I guess, what I would do in a pre-market scenario. Pre-market planning scenario. So currently it is, what time is it? Well, here it's 3:28 a.m. In New York it is 5:28 a.m. So let's go through it. Let's check it out and see what's up. First, let's look at the TPOs. We're looking at extended trading hours. That's the extended trading hours. So it's already built up this value area from 88 to 91. 88 to 91. All right, let's check out Bookmap. So we're looking at the ES. So 88. We got 88 down there to 91. I should already way past it. Okay, so it's already way broken past it. Let's look at just tonight. It looks like it dropped off and then it shot through. So it completely jumped through that value area within an hour. Just 2 hours ago. That's pretty interesting. That is interesting. But let's look for a new. Did I have it up at the time? It looks like I did. So for VX did not give any indication that that was going to happen. It barely even moved at all. So VX is pretty unreliable after hours, it looks like. Well, that's okay. We will continue. So VX is flat, super flat, but it's at 21, so it's relatively high compared to yesterday. It's actually pretty low, which is cool. Let's look at this one, VXTPO. So yeah, compared to yesterday, it's actually pretty low. And compared to the day before, it's way low. So CZ tracking. Actually, I don't think it's tracking. I think this needs to roll over. $21.05, $21.60. Yeah, so I'm looking at VX on Sierra chart, but I think this needs to roll over. So December 21. Yeah, let's roll this over. But before I roll over, let's look at it. So VX. Before I do that, let's remove this shit. Remove. That's just the weekly volume profile. So it's at 21, relatively low from 2 days ago, which peaked at 2880. Oh, sorry, 2580. So now it's down in the 21s, which is comparatively low, but still high compared to the 918s that it was at previously. So it's at, I guess, a normal compared to the high and the low. It's at a medium area. So I guess you could say it's pretty balanced. So balanced. So the ES went up. So VX went down comparatively. So ES went up comparatively. See if I can bring up a easy to read chart. Charts. All right, easy to read charts. So these, oh, that's interesting. It's way above that. So yeah, I definitely missed good trades earlier this week. It's because I was asleep. I prioritize sleep. Because, I have a day job. Anyways, so yeah, so comparatively, it is higher. Let's zoom out. These are from like a long time ago, but it looks like they were still valid, which is interesting. That's an interesting little tidbit. Dang, it even. Wow, okay. I definitely missed some good trade. I missed the beautiful trade here, dude. The 20th. Around what time? Freaking 11? Either way, that was a good trade. It could have bought anywhere in this area, and then that would have been beautiful. I should have tagged what this was about. I wonder what it was about. Let's look. Let's go back, because I'm curious. I know it was way before that. It was like months ago. I guess that's all. Whatever, 30 minutes. So I know it was months ago, dude. Right around there. I wasn't that far back. I think it was this one when I originally put it, or this one. Oh yeah, boom, 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 hit it. It's a big, big, strong. That's a strong area. And then guess what? Hit it again. Oh, that's when it was. Okay, now I know. So if it ever goes back down, that's a big buy area. 45, 30. Anyway, that's not part of my main strategy. It's just a nice tidbit to look at. What I wanted to look at was how it was relatively higher. So 20th to the 23rd. We are now the 23rd. VIX went down on the 22nd. So let's look at the 22nd. 22nd's this area. So 22nd. ES went up in the day, during the day. Totally missed that, but it's okay. There will be more opportunities. Yeah, that was a nasty run up. Okay, let's see. So basically from the open, that's interesting. Wow. From the open. Then it went boom, boom, boom. Let's see how it went on Sierra chart for the volume VWAP actually. Okay, so let's look at this. So today, what I was looking at on the screen to the left, I was actually looking at this. I forgot to switch it. But during the day, 9:30, right around there, it climbed. That's a lot of buying. Bounced back and forth. It's weird. It's really weird how clean that looks. I'm sure it was painful, but it looks really clean. Anyways, it created a really strong value area, and then it shot up, up, up and away, basically. So what I would have been looking for is a buy probably around here, and then got wrecked 3 times. But if whoever was able to buy here, so was this VWAP? I don't use VWAP here, so I'm going to take this off. It's distracting. VWAP would have been, or this area would have been a good buy at 640. Sorry, 46.41. That would have been a beautiful buy. And then it just shot off 46.41. From 46.41 to 46.71. That's a massive move. Let's look at Sierra chart. So Sierra chart, on the same move, like, ooh, so right around 9:30. So right around 9:30, right here. We're just looking at the same thing in a different way. So it actually did ride VWAP. It stayed above, hit VWAP, stayed above VWAP. That's actually really impressive. Stayed above VWAP. Boom, boom, boom. It actually looks cleaner on the 1 minute chart on Bookmap, surprisingly. So 9:30, boom, boom, boom. Those are all 1 minute charts. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's super interesting. Anyway, so it bounced off VWAP. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, at least 3 times. My VWAP, the VWAP that I'm tracking at least. Big buys, big buys. So that the buyers were in control at this time. And you can see that through all this screen. Wow, okay. Let me start over. So it bounced off VWAP 1, 2, 3 times. And buyers were in control. You can see that through this screen. And you can see that through all the blues, all the blue bubbles here. So buys, buys, buys. It's very clear that buyers were in control. There's even this volume candle. Look at all buys right there. So that's a good indication. Right here is just people profit taking or whatever. I mean, it's really painful, but there's not nearly as much volume in this candle as what happened here in this 1 minute candle. So that alone is actually a good sign that the sentiment is bullish. And then after that, so what could have happened here, this level of liquidity, was it hit the level of liquidity, and we would ideally see a giant candle or a giant volume spike similar to this, but that didn't occur, and it just kind of like was normal, was kind of ignored actually, and then it just bought up. That would have been a good indications. So maybe around this area. So 1, 2 minutes later. No, that's 1 minute. So that's 1 minute. 30 seconds later would have been the time to buy right around there. The volume's down, climbed a little bit. Even 5 minutes later, when it came back down, that could have been a good buy area. But what reason would we have bought in there? Let's see. So 9:58, 9:58. So it's right around this area. These are 5 minute candles. So between these two, you could say VWAP was at 40. Didn't even get close to 40, except here. Big rejection. Let's go back to Bookmap. So on Sierra, we look here at 10:05. So on Bookmap, let's look at 10:05. 10:05 is here. So bounce there, hitting VWAP, and it was previously kind of rejecting VWAP too. So there were a lot of things in favor of bull sentiment. Let's look at VX because that's our primary pattern maker. So we're looking at 10:05, 10:05, 10:05. What was happening at 10:05? So there's this big level of liquidity. Either based on this pattern or based on VX alone, either we would see a big buy to break through, or big sell rather, because these are buyers, but sellers would have to be in control in VX. So we would have to see sellers in control, which we kind of do. Sellers in control, sellers in control, sellers in control. A lot more sells than buys. Just you could tell just by looking at it. I'll play with this in a little bit. Sellers in control, major level of liquidity. There's plenty of liquidity on the buy side that's not being taken up. They are clearly going down. The first big hurdle would have been right here when it hit 2250. So buyers stepped up. Okay. But then sellers came back. Big sells. So let's put this next to this guy. So we are looking at 1005. So here. That's where it kind of turned. So buyers jumped into control. Oh, that's interesting. So buyers took control for that brief moment because there was this big level of liquidity. So correspondingly, ES dipped. That's an interesting observation. But at that moment, you couldn't really tell. Would have been hard to tell. Right here, you would have been like, oh yeah, buyers hopped in VX and sellers hopped in ES. And then there's this level of liquidity, and then you'd be making your decision, making your decision, figuring out where you want to be. So I would have said, if it gets through this, that means it's going down, and which corresponds to the ES, it going up. So I would have been waiting for this, and then here I would have been looking at it, like, oh shoot, I missed it. I missed the move. But then sellers continued try to get in there, but they didn't get anywhere. And buyers hopped in the VX. And nothing really happened. They had to get through this level of liquidity. So nothing really happened. Nothing really happened. Buyers didn't step up. It was just kind of being held. Nothing happened. Nothing happened. Sellers still trying to sell. And everything is just flat. So you can see the battle is happening in the VX more so than the ES. Until finally, sellers are starting to take over. Sellers starting to take over ever so slightly. Actually, I think let me change this real quick. Sure, wrong one. Okay, so I changed this real quick. Oh shit, let me change it one more time. To symmetrical. I have to play with that a little bit. But anyway, to close that off, we're going to play with the cumulative volume delta in the VX a little bit more, just to see if I could see a better way to discern whether buyers or sellers are in control in the VX. Just to make things easier, if it makes things easier. The goal is to make things easier, but who knows. Okay, so where are we? So 10:05. Buyers, for a brief moment, came into control until they weren't. And keep it like that. So VX went up, ES went down, but there was no follow up, no follow through. So probably right around here, 10:15, I would have been like, okay, this would have been the real test because it tested it several times and it tried to get through. You can see all those big buyers or big sellers trying to break through, but it didn't want to because there was a large liquidity level until finally it broke through. Yep, definitely more sellers in the VX than buyers. So it finally broke through a little bit. So we're what, 10, 20, 10, 17? And then finally when it broke through, we'll say there, that's when it popped up. So the question is, was it the buyers in ES that popped it up, or was it the sellers in VX that made the move happen? Either way, it happened. And if you look in the ES, it's kind of already too late. So the big buy would have been earlier, but it would have been like really hard to get in because of how choppy it is. It's a good phrase for choppy. And the bet would have been whether or not this level of liquidity in the VX would have been broken through, which eventually it was. And then, I mean, I wouldn't have stayed in very long. Let's see what happened in NQ at the time. So 10:05 to 10:15. For some reason, it doesn't have it. Let's go 12 hours. Oh, I don't think it's going to come up. Oh, that's fine. Alright, let's continue. So 10:30 kind of broke through. That would have been a good time to get a trade in. And VIX basically flatlined after that. Until 10:30 when it happened again. Yep, so it broke through, then it broke through again. And that would have been enough to say, hey, we're bullish. So the hard part would have been entry-wise. I don't know where I would have entered, and I would have had to have been there. There's still a lot of sales in VX, so that's still super super bullish. A lot, a lot, a lot. All buys, all buys, all buys. Or sells. All sells, all sells, all sells. Which is basically buys. So how did that work out? So 1130, but it's flat, flat. I mean, there's that major level of liquidity there. Ultimately, ultimately it went higher. That's interesting. So buys, 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 buys during launch. I'm thinking buys, but it's sells in VX. And then this one, this brief moment, it's not even significant. That's interesting. So significant moments in VX are not always significant in the ES. Yeah, so there was a major move in the VX, but it was not significant in the ES. Hmm. And then buy programs continued, or sell programs continued in the VX. That's interesting and consistent. Still majority sales. There's not a clear pattern there that I could see at least. Basically flat. Yeah, no clear pattern in the VX right there. It looks painful. Painfully flat. But still bullish because of the amount of sales. I'll give it that. And ultimately, the Bulls won. At the end of the day. At the end of the day, the Bulls won. That's interesting. Hmm. Okay, well, I guess that was a nice analysis for what happened today. I'll wrap that up there. And